In today's digital world, there lies a story behind every lens, with the ability to capture some unusually giant catches to bizarre animal behaviors and oddly fascinating sightings. Here are some of the most unbelievable things caught on camera that shocked the whole world. Giant orca washed ashore. In January 2023, a 21-foot orca apparently washed itself on a beach in Florida, with a whopping weight of around 7,000 pounds. The giant whale, after waiting long enough for the waves to get it back into the water, gave up on life on the shore. According to officials, there is no record of orcas stranding themselves in Florida. However, it is their common behavior to come close to shore in search of food and then rely on waves to get them back to the ocean. Sadly, this one has no luck this time in doing so. Two-headed whale. A pair of whales joined at the waist with two full heads was found washed up on a beach in Mexico. Pretty bizarre and terrifying. According to experts, the rare conjoined gray whale calves are initially spotted alive in Hoja de Lebre Lagoon in Baja California Peninsula, where they tend to live for a few hours only. Moreover, as per a marine biologist, even though the whales would have survived, they would have led a miserable life, since it wasn't sure if the two of them shared internal organs apart from sharing the same physical body. However, scientists are collecting samples of their tissue to know more about whale birth deformities. Swimming with Humboldt squid. Absolutely not the kind of creature you'd picture yourself holding on to. Take a look at these daredevil divers who took their chances with one angry Humboldt squid while diving deep in the water. The footage shows this giant squid oozing out clouds of inks just as these divers started to poke it. Speaking of which, when feeling threatened, they release large amounts of ink into the water, using their siphon to create a dark cloud while jetting away from the predator. Moreover, do you know, according to research, giant Humboldt squids are capable of ripping apart humans in tiny chunks of deliciousness, which I'm assuming these guys didn't know of. Whale shark rescue. A whale shark measuring up to 35 feet long accidentally got entangled in a fishing net off the Goa coast in India. The crew tried to push the whale back into the water, but being big and heavy, they failed at each step and ended up calling an emergency forklift to throw the giant creature back where it belonged after. The entire mission took around a collective effort of 4 hours, while the whale shark kept flopping off the coast for some breath. Also, do you know whale sharks are actually big-sized sharks who prefer filter feeding like most whales? Giant pufferfish rescue. While fishing for barracuda, this woman accidentally caught a huge, poisonous porcupine pufferfish fused with teeth that are combined into a single unit and are as hard as stone. Pretty lethal to even touch with its poisonous spikes, this brave lady decided to rescue and throw the fish back to water before it caused any damage. She holds the wearing gloves in both hands, upon which the animal kind of pops up into this giant ball of 4-centimeter long spikes angled at 90 degrees. Ready to deflate anyone with its neurotoxins, the fish was released to water and later in the depths of sea through the incoming water waves. Sperm whale sleeping. A diver named Patrick Dykstra caught this once-in-a-lifetime moment when he stumbled across this pod of sperm whales submerged in a deep sleep with their bodies logging vertically near the surface of the water and enclosed in a circular defense field. And while it looks like giant pillars of rock hanging in the ocean, there are a couple of reasons why whales actually sleep like that. Firstly, they need to stay alert from any potential threat, and secondly, they want to keep themselves hydrated. Usually sperm whales are known to nap from 10 to 15 minutes with half of their brain shut off and one eye closed in an upside down position, which kind of looks pretty comfy to them at least. Crocodile stuck in tire. In 2016, residents near the Palu River in Indonesia spotted a giant saltwater crocodile with a motorcycle tire stuck around its neck. Measuring around 13 feet long, The unfortunate reptile was stuck in this misery for almost 6 years. But all thanks to this bird catcher named Tilly, who along with 2 of his other friends decided to free the croc. Tilly first managed to trap the giant beast with ropes bound along its jaws, and then with lots of guts, he sawed the TYRE off its neck while receiving a huge reward from Indonesian authorities as a result of this bravery. Huge fin whale. In February 2021, a huge fin whale washed ashore on Nitsanim Beach near the city of ASHORE. Measuring up to 17 meters in length, the discovery was made by the workers from Israel's Nature and Parks Authority. However, judging by the looks of it, it seemed the unfortunate creature was doomed because of the tar pollution brought across the country's coastline by powerful winds and high waves. But according to authorities, the whale passed away 2 weeks prior to the tar incident, which again leaves us in the labyrinth of what had caused this miserable creature to give up on life. Headless snake biting itself. In Huntsville, Alabama, a decapitated copperhead snake was caught biting its own body, even without it being attached to the head. While this looks pretty unbelievable, the video shows how this venomous reptile appears to attack its own tail out of instinct, with the body writhing around in reaction. Well, this whole magical phenomenon has to do with the snake's psychology in keeping them self-aware for hours following their demise, because snakes are ectotherms, due to which they don't need as much oxygen to fuel the brain and can probably stay alive for minutes or even hours. Sinkhole draining boat. This footage from a Brazilian lake shows 2 men in a boat getting the fright of their lives when a sinkhole opened up directly beneath their vessel. Well, actually 2 of these men were floating in the boat behind the Castillo Dam when a sinkhole opened. The men were actually there to save the lake's wildlife, but since there were tree branches obstructing the dam's gate closure, it became hard for them to grip the sides of their boats as the water drained away through the hole beneath them. Not sure whether to jump or stay on the boat, luckily when the boat appears to become wedged in the sinkhole, both of them got a second chance at life. Megamouth shark. On July 31st, 2022, an extremely rare and known to be the 3rd largest species of sharks, a megamouth shark, was found stranded on the shores of Sitio Luke, Bergi Mating in Mamboje, Camiguin. Weighing up to 2,700 pounds, these sharks are mostly known to be found in the deep sea, while spending most of their lives in the darkest depths of the ocean. However, megamouth sharks are said to be capable of reaching up to 100 years of age, which leaves us wondering how this one ended up washed ashore in such a vulnerable condition. Was it hurt? Injured? Nobody knows yet for sure. Before we move any further, like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon so you can keep watching our amazing content. Butterflies eating fish. This next footage is from Sipsey River, when a man, while trailing along the Bankhead National Forest, was baffled to see this bizarre sighting. There was a fish carcass laying alongside the river with a bunch of butterflies stuck to it. Although the butterflies are not really carnivorous, what they are doing still looks creepy. Well, it turns out the phenomenon is called puddling, where these butterflies puddle over a fish carcass to lick off the essential salt and mineral that seep out of the animal as it decomposes. Basking shark on shore. Stranded among the rocks with a cut-off fin, there lies a huge basking shark decomposing off the coast of Mannan Bay in Ireland. The poor shark was initially noticed by a man during snorkeling underwater on September 19, 2010. But how did it end up here? Experts suggest that basking sharks spend most of their time swimming in colder temperatures, and when the Irish coastal water temperature rises, they tend to migrate, during which this one must have ended up encountering a fishing net, or perhaps a huge ship, and gave up on life right away. Swimming next to giant squid egg. In October 2019, a pair of divers, while returning from their hunt in Norway, stumbled across this huge 10-armed squid egg sac containing thousands of mini squid babies inside. Drifting above the ocean floor, the transparent orb glimmers tiny flecks of babies as the diver points its torch on the bulbous-shaped mucus. It is the usual behavior of some squids to lay clusters of eggs in a large jelly-like floating mass, probably to keep the embryos far enough apart so that each egg gets enough oxygen, and also to provide protection to the babies from predators and parasites. Crab eating baby crabs. Let's meet this Christmas Island red crab popping up her babies into mouth with both of her hands like popcorn. Well, that's the unbeatable advantage of having millions of babies. You'll never get hungry. Speaking of which, when mother crabs are hungry, they apparently start to see their spawn as food. That's basically how their brain functions in manipulating the motherly instincts into a vicious predator who recognizes their own eggs, larvae, or even other smaller crabs as anything but potential food. Giant crocodile catch. In August 2017, a massive crocodile was caught in Sundarban Delta in India. According to local villagers, the area is already famous for lethal saltwater crocodile attacks, but they had never encountered such a giant one before. Hence, getting rid of it was a mandatory task. The entire village gathered with a plan to capture the huge reptile, but since despite being vicious it was so huge and bulky, they decided to call a crane and lift the croc to it. Tied up with ropes and chains, the animal was carried far away from the residential area to a lake where it was lifted off to spend the rest of its life. Kangaroo rescue. In January 2021, a man, while out on the waters with his family at Wilson Inlet in Denmark, Western Australia, spotted a kangaroo in the middle of the water. Initially thinking of it being paddling far from the shore, he noticed the roo was actually tiring and its head was going underwater as it struggled to swim. And that was the moment when he decided to help the drowning kangaroo. He moved near the animal, leaned over to take hold of its leg and body, while gently dragging the animal towards the shallow waters. And just like the poor roo was finally out of danger, watching its rescuers from a distance while thanking them with a smile in its eyes. Sand snail eggs. Moving on, take a look at this tree trunk with a bunch of bubblegum leftovers stuck to it. And while it does look pretty gross, turns out the tree stump is filled with apple snail. The footage captured in rural Cambodia shows apple snail eggs in bright pink color stuck to the tree stump. These snails deposit their precious eggs outside of the water, which typically contains between 200 to 600 pink eggs in a single cluster. But why pink eggs? The thought behind these strangely colored eggs is to act as a visual deterrent to predators. Also, they contain a powerful neurotoxin, so touching them in any way for a predator could be life-threatening. Apocalyptic cloud. Residents in the Brazilian city of Teresa de Freitas were baffled to catch sight of this mysterious cloud formation over the city in August 2017. The strange, menacing-looking cloud led people to wonder if it spelled the beginning of something far more sinister. At first, the cloud resembled a meteorite trail or tornado frozen in time, but when it starts to doom, the freak cloud appears to be a huge formation of red sandstorm. The incident took place around 5 p.m. in the evening, leaving people in utter shock and distress. But is it really the work of God or something related to extraterrestrial activities? Let us know your thoughts on it in the comments section below. Catching grouper from kayak. A fisherman named John Black was screaming with delight in a kayak near Cape Coral, Florida, after making the catch of his lifetime. Weighing around 500 pounds, it was a giant Goliath grouper, measuring roughly around 7 foot long and 6 foot wide. Although groupers are actually known to eat small, they can't keep up maintaining their weight and end up being big and bulky, which is exactly how this one got easily snapped to the man's fishing rod. However, in Florida, they are known to be a protected species. John, after adoring his big catch, releases the fish back into the water. Giant octopus catch. For all we know, giant Pacific octopuses are known for their intelligence, with a huge amount of brain located in their tentacles. And this footage shows exactly how they make use of it when it comes to stealing a ready-to-eat lunch. The clip shows fishermen catching up some crab and finding a giant, apparently very daring octopus cling to the entire trap in order to steal as many crabs as possible in a single go before escaping back into the sea. And while it's not easy to get rid of an octopus's grip, the fishermen had to pull off some extra efforts in order to do so. Baby turtle versus crab. Once baby turtles get hatched, life challenges them pretty hard. Take a look at this little hatchling orienting itself towards the bright sea with the dreams of making it to the ocean. But since dreams aren't that easy to achieve, this baby got face to face with a hungry crab. The crab hops up on it using its pincers to pick this little guy up by its shell in order to doom it down the beach. Well, it turned into an utter failure when the baby turtle decided to knock him off with its ninja turtle moves while making it towards its happily ever after. Two-headed snake. A woman named Luján Arelis was walking in her yard in Santa Fe in Argentina when she spotted a 4 inches long creature on the pavement. The bizarre creature had rough skin like a snake with 2 heads on both ends of its long body. However, when she posted the footage on social media thinking it could be some sort of mutant, it turns out the creature is known to be an elephant hawk moth caterpillar, known for their curved spines and 2 large eye markings on the back of their heads to trick the predators into thinking they are larger than they appear. Snake as a hair tie. This is no ordinary scrunchie. It is an entire snake holding up their hair in a low ponytail. Well, speaking of this unusual fashion trend, this brave woman has got perfect hair accessories when it comes to utilizing the ingenious fashion skills of her pet snake. The clip is from Florida, United States, featuring this girl called Cheyenne with her pet snake tied up in a ball around her hair. According to Cheyenne, her snake, named Gazpacho, likes to do this when socializing. He loves to gravitate towards her hair because it not only provides the snake a good source of warmth, but an opportunity to burrow as well. Dog catches fish. Who needs fishing gear when you have got a fishing partner like Jake? The video is from Alaska, United States, where a dog named Jake happened to run down the shallow waters after spotting a shark swimming nearby. Unaware of how lethal these sharks could be, Jake knew exactly what to do when he grabbed the fish in the jaws. But since catching a shark is not that easy, Jake had to struggle for a couple of minutes before knocking it down completely. The entire incident occurred at Sultry Lode, with Jake ended up dragging the shark to land with a slight injury on one of his hind legs. Lion rescued off the coast. In January 2016, a lion was spotted having its titanic movement prowling at the edge of the water off the Indian coast. The dramatic footage shows how this big cat looked out the open sea, turned back and jumped right into the water and began paddling away from the shore. But thanks to the fishermen who immediately called the parks rangers to rescue the lion, the team, however, lifted the beast out of the water, tranquilized it, and transported it to an animal care center. According to officials, the lion would be kept there for supervision and would eventually be released into the park after proper treatment. Mysterious formation. A father named Ronald Langsholt, along with his 13-year-old son, went to Valen in Norway, where his teenage son spotted this strange heart-shaped figure floating on the surface of the seawater. Intricated with delicate patterns, the mysterious formation turns out to be pollens, shaped up in a heart-shaped figure. Speaking of which, pollen often arrives in ocean surface waters and is ingested by planktonic organisms but forming and collating like so was something pretty rare and unique. Today's open discussion is a picture of this giant whale getting lifted out of the coast of El Metorel in Spain. Measured up to 65.5 feet in length, the poor whale, after giving up life, got stranded on the surface of the water, where a lifter was called to transport the giant creature to a safer place for its decomposition, which took around almost 5 whole hours. However, the cause of this poor creature's demise is still unknown. According to experts, the whale, who turned out to be an adult male, must have got doomed due to the natural causes. Thank you very much for watching the video. Do like and share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again.